Hey folks, this is your host Bilawal. I've solved the hackerrank problem sales by match. This problem is already solved by many programmers, but we're gonna try another approach. Hold the snacks and let's dive into the problem. So the problem states there is a large pile of socks that must be paired by color. Given an array of integers representing the color of each sock, determine how many pairs of socks with matching colors there are. As we can see, the problem listed here says that there is a large pile of socks that is in irregular manner. So we have to gather all the pairs of socks and return the number of pairs. Let's check out the first example. N equal to 7, that is the size of array, and here is an actual array. So there is one pair of color 1 and one of color 2. There are 3 or socks left, one of each color. The number of pairs is 2. So we have to create a function that going to accept an array and its size, and it should return the number of pairs. And here is a second example, and it contains only 3 pairs. Let's look at this array, and it contains 1 pair, 2 pair, and finally the last pair, and the left out number doesn't make any pair. So the sample output contains only 3 pairs. We have to write an algorithm that going to accept this array and find out how many pairs does this array have. Here is a sample input. I picked this from test sample inputs. There are total 8 sample inputs including the one I solved. After this sample input, I was able to solve this algorithm. So in this sample input, there are total 9 pairs, 2 pairs of 4, 3 pairs of 5, 2 pairs of 6, 1 pair of 3 and 1 pair of 1. So 9 pairs would be returned. A good programmer always divides a problem into small modules as this specifies the task as well as it is a professional practice. Now think about that, how we can count the number of pairs in this given array. If we compare each index of array with all other elements of array, in this way we'll get the duplicates. Let's see how. Index equal to 0, that is a starting point, and pair should be 0 at first. For loop for iterate over each index, and it should compare the starting point with all other elements of array, and the comparison between starting point and all our indexes of array, and if we found any pair, the pair should be incremented by 1, and after each iteration the starting point will be incremented by 1. Now what is going on here? The starting point is comparing with all our indexes of array, and at first iteration the starting point is 4, and at first it is comparing with itself. Like here the index is 0, the starting point is 0, and the array index is 0, and it's comparing with itself, and after this it is comparing with this 4 and this 4. It is comparing with same numbers. We can't let that happen. Like we have to tell our algorithm that if you found any pair, just ignore it in your next iteration. And in the second iteration the starting point is 5, and after comparing with 4 it is comparing with itself and this 5 and also this 5. So we can't let that happen. If we found any pair, we should ignore it right away in our next iteration. What if we rearrange the pile of socks by its color and then count the pairs? For that we have to sort the array in ascending order. Sort function can do the job for us. Every language have its own sorting function, and after sort the array should look like this. Now we have the array in organized manner. We just need to count the pairs and ignore this pair in our next iteration till the end. And if we follow the even and odd pattern, our index variable and I variable, and after each iteration the I variable will be jumps by 2 and index will also be jumps by 2, and in this way we can count the pairs and exclude these pairs till our next iterations. Now our algorithm is actually comparing the variable index and I, and it is returning us pairs. But now our algorithm is returning us 8 pairs, but the pairs are actually 9. How? Let's do the manual iteration. Algorithm is comparing the elements by even and odd sequence, and our if statement reach at the spot where two numbers are different, it's skipping the elements. Look, there are 5 sequences in this array, and algorithm is reach at the spot where two numbers are different. It's just skip the first element of next sequence. If we count the pairs manually, we found that there are 9 pairs, but algorithm is returning us 8 pairs. We have to tell our algorithm that, hey, if you found two different socks, just don't skip the first element of next sequence. For that, we have to update our algorithm that if we found same numbers, just do the even and odd sequence. And if we found two different numbers, just do the even and odd sequence from the start of next sequence. Now, if our algorithm found two different socks, it will not skip any element. It will compare all the elements within the same number sequence. It will ignore the last element, but we don't care about that. If it is last, then there will be no pair. Now let's take a look at the implementation of this code in PHP. Of course, you can do this in any language, and if I hit the submit button, you can see it passes the all test cases. If you found any query, just put it in the comments below, and if you found this helpful, click the like and subscribe button and hit the bell icon. See you in next video.